Amazon has given us everything we wanted for Stargate. But can they do one more thing for us? Give us more than 10 episodes. Welcome to the Attack and Pulse podcast, your place for sci-fi news, rumour and debate.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
So, if we consider what streaming series have done in the past, and we think about what they're probably going to do with Stargate, we are probably going to get 10, 12 episodes. They will probably spend between $5 and $10 million an episode. The rumour I first heard when they were looking at this with Mark Fergus was that budget was going to be roughly $10 million an episode, because that would have been in line with what Star Trek was getting at the time. But obviously, the world has changed since then. God, it's only 3 years ago. Do you remember 3 years ago? Streaming wars was still going and everyone was still spending ridiculous money. Well, those days have gone. So I heard that there was everything across the board was looking at 25 to 30% cut in budgets, and that's pretty much everything unless it's like, top of the Nielsen ratings. So we could expect $6 or $7 million an episode if you look at that, but I'm actually being told they're looking at more like an average of $5 for the budget for maybe 2 seasons. There is, though, an opportunity here, because actually Stargate doesn't need big CGI. To be fair, Star Trek doesn't either, but they insist. I actually think there is an opportunity here to go back to what Stargate should be. And look, creators have been talking about this. A couple of insiders have been talking about it. Lots of guys on YouTube have been talking about it. They've been talking about it because it's true. Brad Wright did the best filler episodes, or the best sort of very enclosed sort of story episodes of anybody. We saw filler episodes in the past. We never saw anything like what he did with SG-1. When he's being tortured by Ball and the blah blah, or when we got the new president. I just love those episodes. They were so clever, and they were filler episodes. They were clip episodes, but they worked. Why do they used to do filler episodes? It's because when you're doing 22 episodes a season, you need a couple of those episodes to be cheap. You need to be able to spread your budget about. You need to say, look, we're only averaging a couple of $1 million an episode, but the first 2 episodes cost loads, so we need to spread that cost out. I would actually plead with Amazon. I would say thank you so much for bringing Brad Wright and Joseph Malozzi and actually letting Martin Gero run this show. Thank you so much for it being a continuation, even if it is going to be a standalone sort of project. People keep calling it a continuation. It's not a continuation. It's a soft reboot. I'm sorry, but it just is. A continuation can't have a massive 15-year gap. It's a continuation in universe, but it's not a continuation in the story. I'm getting sidetracked. But they've given us everything we wanted, except we want more than 10 episodes. And I would argue that if you take Stargate back to what it was, you could do more than 10 episodes for the same money. I would actually argue that if you throw in, not filler episodes, not clip episodes, but you throw in a couple of episodes like, what was that one with Carter and McKay, and he was trapped on the puddle jumper, and at one point Sam Carter is only wearing a bra. It's a brilliant episode. But episodes like that, where it's basically just 2 people talking. In that episode, it would cost almost no money. They had 2 actors in 90% of the episode. They had a puddle jumper set that they already have, and they just basically put a bit of water in it. And that was the episode. There was no massive CGI, etc., which CGI is the biggest expense. So, well, building sets actually is probably one of the biggest sets expenses, but then it's the CGI. We don't need a lot of that. We don't need any CGI creatures, except maybe if some version of the Asgard came back. But even that was done relatively simply, and it was done a lot with puppets, to be fair, and animatronics. So, again, you don't have to do that. But what I would argue is, do your 10 episodes that cost $4 or $5 million an episode, but allow the creators to also then do 4 or 5 episodes, which only cost maybe $1 or $2 million to produce. They're almost filmed as an afterthought between other things. You don't have to do any big projects like musicals. If you do, we're going to fall out. You don't need to do anything big and expensive, huge CGI battles and things like this particularly. Build up to that. Allow the budget to grow with the popularity of the show, like they did with SG-1. But initially, actually, us Gators, we don't need it. But also, we need you to be able to develop the characters. And again, I'm going to point back to Star Trek here, particularly Discovery and Strange New Worlds. I've always argued that my biggest problem with Discovery was that I did not give a flying crap about any of the characters because they were never developed. Most of the crew, you can't name without Googling it. They've got no backstory. It's only really one or two characters who got any sort of fleshing out of the character at all. Strange New Worlds is a bit better. It's more character driven, but there's still nothing like the character development we would want. Stargate had lots of that character development. We got to fall in love with these characters and got to know them like family. But we got that because we got those filler episodes. We got those very enclosed episodes. We got those episodes of two people just chatting in a room. I want to see that again. And it's a two birds with one stone. You get character development, but you also get cheap episodes, which leads to more episodes. And those episodes can be produced quicker because, again, it's post-production that takes ages. So don't have any. We desperately want this on our screens quickly. And I'm actually being told this could be on our screens within about 12 months. I'm being told it could begin post-production or pre-production, in the new year. A lot of the heavy lifting has already been done. We know the script for the pilot is done. And there will be an overview for the rest of the series. Martin Gear has been thinking about this for 18 months. I don't think it's going to take him very long to put the scripts together. So we were always told sort of pre-production to start in January, and that looks like what's going to happen. It'll take about 6 months to film. If they keep the post-production to a minimum, they could keep that to about 6 months. It could be on our screens by the end of the year, early 2027. I think that's very doable. But more importantly, we could get, we're not going to get 22, 26 episodes. We're just not. But 15 or 16 episodes, it's doable. So Amazon, please, I know we've asked for a lot. I know you've then been Santa Claus and given it us just in time for Christmas. Just one more thing. Just one more. Allow the creators that you've put in place to do this in a similar way to what they've done before, to what they've shown us they can do. Give them a nice, reasonable budget. Give them the opportunity to do as many episodes as they want, and let them give us the Stargate we want. 15 episodes, no more than 18 months apart. And we will forgive you for everything you did with Rings of Power and Wheel of Time and a dozen other projects. We will forgive you. We will even forgive you for making us wait this bloody long. Just one more thing. Please, feel like Oliver. Please, Amazon, just a little bit more. But guys, get into the comments, tell me what you think. Is this a no-brainer? Or do you actually think, with your sensible hat on, there's no bloody chance we'll get 10 episodes like we always do? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of these videos before everybody else. So go check it out. As always, please stay safe. And I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.